Scottish girl is hired again. When I was just a little Scots girl, and I lived in Scotland with my grandfather Scotty. I always used to go to cricket matches, because you see, my grandfather Scotty was a really good cricketman, and he was part of the Scottish cricket team. Ooh, and he was a really good hooligans. Ooh, they're so big, and they've got really big shoulders too, and they've got big heads with a tiny brain. You really can't have it all, right? So then what happened is I picked up this huge box of cricket balls, and I started running up into the stadium, and then I started climbing and climbing until I was on top of the stadium, and nobody could get to me, because only a really tiny person can climb up the narrow little ladder that they had set up. But anyway, it never won the details. I was in a really top position on the stadium, and all them hooligans started to gather around. So I took the cricket ball, right? And then I started doing the best ball that I could. So then I was getting ready, and I bowled one of them hooligans out. And it was kind of like the domino effect, because once he hit one hooligan, the hooligan falls back, and then the hooligan behind the hooligan falls back, and then the hooligan behind the hooligan falls back, and then before you know it, 10 hooligans down on the field. Ooh, it was a great sight to see. So I had so many cricket balls, and I started throwing it, and all them hooligans were just falling down like a huge domino effect. If I don't recall correctly, I